everybody. It's your favorite boy, Zack, back up here again.
Yay!
I'm going to talk the other night is about pain. We learned about forgiveness the other night, so I said we should learn about pain. I know some people in here experience a great deal of pain. Sadie, Allison, looking at y'all. Sadie's the only person I know that's malnourished in America that ain't homeless. Just saying. But we all know that pain comes in different shapes, sizes, mental pain, physical pain. Some of it pleasant. No, it's not pleasant. But, so I want to tell y'all about this verse tonight. Let me find it. I just got a new Bible out. I'm trying to learn how to figure it out. And it says, this is Matthew 11:28. Come on to me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you your rest. Give you rest there. And for me, that speaks to me a little bit, We've all been through some things in our life. Sometimes some of it recent. But that one always gave me a little solace in my life, understanding. That was one of my favorite verses. And it helped me through some tough times. We've all had tough times up in here. But, so every time, something bad happens, I like to go back to that. And it really helps me through some things. And find the next chapter. But some of the tough times in my life, that's helped me through a lot of it. But one of them recently was, my grandmother and my grandfather passing. That scripture meant a lot to me when all that was going down. It's very personal to me. And so it got me through some tough times because my grandparents are very special to me. They raised me for most of my life, taught me a lot of life lessons. And so that one has a special place in my heart. But, so, one thing about pain is it's not always a bad thing in life. Pain can be a great teacher. We all have that primal instinct. You see something hot, you kind of like, hey, maybe what if we touch that? Call the void or whatever. I don't know if I can talk about that in church, but so we're just going to go over that one. But pain drives you to do better for yourself in situations. If something's bringing you great pain, it's a way of saying, hey, let's do something about that. For example, you don't like something about yourself and you feel emotional pain about it, hey, let's change it. Physical pain, let's go to the doctor. It's a lot of things. Pain is something that's hard to describe. It's not always a bad thing. But pain is kind of hard to describe. Because when you think something's bad, it's not always bad. It brings me back to an old Chinese song that's been passed down through the Russell family for generations.
No.
It was the old man and his son. They were radish farmers. Some of y'all might know this because I say it a lot. The old man was a radish farmer and his son, and they were sharecroppers. And so if you don't know what that means, is they farm somebody else's land and the landowner takes a portion of it and they make a portion. So, so one day the son's out plowing the field. They're in 14th century China. The boy's trying to work the land, to plow with the horse. The old man, he's frail. He doesn't do much these days. And so the old boy's out there one day and the horse gets off the reins and it runs up a mountain. And he runs in there, Dad, what do I do? The horse got away. he's like, I can't find it. Old man, he said, this is a travesty. The little boy said to the old man. Old man said, I don't know, I can't call it. So a couple days later, the young boy was standing outside on his porch, and he was just looking up at the mountain, and all of a sudden the horses come running down. The horse was running with a bunch of wild stallions. Little boy ran out there, opened up the corral. All the horses ran into it. Little boy put the pin in the gate, and he ran back in there. Dad, we got stallions. We're gonna be rich now, man. We got in the money. So we're gonna train horses and sell them. So he's like, this is a blessing. He says, I don't know what it is. I can't call it. It's becoming a pattern. And he goes out there one day, and he's going to try to train the horses, and all these people are watching him train the horses. One of the horses wasn't having it. Kicked him right in his shin, crushed it. In 14th century China, they didn't have much to do about that back then. Wrap it in some tobacco leaves and sprinkle some mint on it. And that's it. That's all they could do. And everybody's like, oh man, that's terrible. Now your son's messed up and you can't work the field, you can't sell the horses. He said, this is a travesty. The old man says, I don't know what it is, I can't call it. And so one day, this is 14th century China, they running down the mountain, these warlords was fighting some kind of war. And they was enlisting all the young men in the village. And little boy, they come knocking on the door, little boy hobbling up there on his crutches. And they're like, oh, your legs hurt, you can't join the war. And he's all like, yeah, he says, my legs hurt, thankfully I can't join the war. And the old man says, well, how are you going to work all your land? The warlord asked the old man, how are you going to work your land? He says, I don't know, I can't call it. So they ran back down up the mountain. They got in a fight with whoever they was fighting in 14th century China. All of them was murdered. It was bad. No, not a soul lived. The little boy said, man, it was a blessing that I didn't fight in that war, didn't it? That I got my shin shattered and now I'm crippled for the rest of my life. That's hard to admit, but the old man says, I don't know, I can't call it. And so that's kind of a hard connection to put together. But sometimes for me, that shows that if it's a bad thing, it's not always bad. Sometimes pain leads you in a good direction in your life. You just have to persevere and stick with it. And that's the end of my 14th century Chinese Russell family legend.